At 45, he makes $140,000 a year, and last spring he skipped a 7-year-old's dance recital, his own niece's, because the flight home was money that wasn't there. 13 years earlier, he stood in a car dealership, and the door handle slid out to meet his hand like the machine had been waiting for him specifically. This is the story of the exact moment his life split in two, and the one boring decision, the most boring decision a human being can make, that decided everything. There's a number coming near the end of this that should stop you cold. Stay for it. The dealership guy is still talking, but you've stopped hearing him, because the car in front of you is white and low, and the door handles sit flush with the body until you touch them, and then they slide out to meet your hand. You are 22. You've been at your first real job for 4 months. The offer letter said $71,000, and you've read that number so many times it stopped looking like language. Right now that number is doing something dangerous in your chest. It's telling you that you've arrived, and the car agrees, and the salesman agrees, and the only person in the building who might disagree is not here. The lease is $480 a month, he says. That's less than most people spend on coffee. That's a lie. Nobody spends $480 a month on coffee, and he knows it, and you know it. But you nod, because the lie is doing you a favor. The lie is helping you become the person who drives this car, and you want to become that person so badly your teeth hurt. Here's the thing the salesman will never say out loud, and the thing you'll spend the next 13 years learning the hard way. This car is not an asset. It looks like one. It sits in your driveway like one. But an asset puts money into your pocket, and a liability takes money out. And by that definition, the most beautiful object you've ever owned is, financially, a small fire you feed every month. It loses about 20% of its value the first year, and 15% every year after. Except you don't even own it. You're leasing. You'll feed the fire for 36 months and then hand back the ashes. You sign. Of course you sign. You'd sign again. And this is where your life splits in two. Because there's another version of you. Same age, same job, same 71 grand, same ache to feel like somebody, who walks out of that dealership, who drives home the used Corolla with the small dent that their cousin sold them for $6,000, who feels, sitting at the red light, deeply and specifically uncool. That version of you is real, and right now that version is watching the white car pull out of the lot and feeling like they lost. Keep both of them in your head. You're going to need them. Let's call the first one status. Let's call the second one patience. Same face, same haircut for now. Everything from here forward is just math and time, which are the two things nobody can ever talk you out of. Status pays $480 a month for the car. Insurance on a leased luxury vehicle for a 22-year-old runs high. Call it $240 a month easily. Add the premium gas the manual insists on. Round the whole machine to $800 a month, all in. It feels manageable. It feels like the cost of being taken seriously. Patience drives the Corolla, pays $90 a month to insure it, and takes the difference. Call it roughly $600 a month, and does the single most boring thing a human being can do with money. Patience opens a Roth IRA, buys an index fund with a ticker symbol so unsexy it's almost aggressive, VTI, and sets up an automatic transfer that they will then ignore for a decade. You know what compounding is. Everyone knows what compounding is. But knowing is not the same as feeling it, and this video is going to make you feel it. So stay. The US stock market has returned around 10% a year over the long run before inflation. $600 a month, 10%, starting at 22. Hold that in your mind. We'll come back to it, and the number is going to be worse than you think. Worse for status, I mean. Neither version of you is thinking about any of this yet. Both of you are just living. The first time it stings is Thanksgiving. You're 22, home, and your mom asks, the way moms do, sideways while chopping something, how the money's going. And there's a specific silence that happens when you tell a parent how much you make. You watch the number land on her face. For status, the number is undercut by the fact that the impressive car in the driveway is quietly bleeding you dry, and you can't say so. For patience, the number lands and then nothing happens, because patience has no car in the driveway to explain, and somehow, in that moment, that's worse. Your mom says, "That's nice, honey," and moves the green beans, and you feel invisible. That night, both versions of you refresh a checking account balance, hoping the number changed. It didn't change. It never changes when you do that. You know this, and you do it anyway. Now you're 27. Status has upgraded. The first lease ended, and the new one's nicer. because that's how it works. The floor becomes the ceiling, becomes the floor. There's a watch now too, not the most expensive one, but the one that people who know watches will notice, which is the entire point, and it costs $3,200 on a credit card you told yourself you'd pay off in 3 months, and are now on month 9 of, at an APR of 24.9%. That means the watch is quietly costing you around $66 a month just to keep existing on the balance. The watch tells time, the debt tells a different kind of time. Here's what nobody tells you about looking rich. It's a subscription, not a purchase. You don't buy the image once, you rent it forever, and the rent goes up. Patience, at 27, got a raise and drives the same Corolla, which now has a check engine light that's been on so long it feels like a friend. Patience made exactly one change, raised the monthly investment to $900. That's it. That's the whole life update. It's the most boring paragraph in this entire story, and it's the reason for everything that happens next. There's a friend in both timelines. Her name is Rachel, and she's the comparison you didn't ask for. Rachel's a nurse, makes less than you, and at 24 she did something neither of you did. She bought a small, ugly duplex in a city neither of you would brag about, lived in one half, rented out the other, FHA loan, 3.5% down, PMI she hated paying every single month, and a tenant who once called her at 2 a.m. about a raccoon. Rachel was not glamorous. Rachel had a raccoon. Hold your judgment about Rachel though, because her story does not resolve the way you're expecting. At 27, Status looks better than Rachel. That's just true. Status has the car and the watch and the apartment with the exposed brick. Rachel has a duplex that smells faintly of the previous owner's cat. So let me ask you something, and be honest, because most people won't admit the real answer. If someone showed you these two at a party and asked which one was winning, you'd point at Status, without hesitating, and you'd be wrong. And being wrong would feel exactly like being right, which is the whole trap in a single sentence. Drop it in the comments right now, Status or Rachel. Be honest about who you'd have pointed at. I'll tell you at the end why almost everyone gets it wrong. By now, Status has spent, on cars, the watch, the lifestyle inflation around them, somewhere in the ballpark of $40,000 that produced nothing. Not a down payment, not a share of anything. $40,000 converted directly into the feeling of being seen, which lasts on average about as long as it takes for the next person to pull up in something newer. Patience has, by 27, roughly $60,000 to $70,000 in that Roth. And here's the part that should make you sit up. Patience is not more disciplined than you, not smarter. Patience just automated one transfer at 22 and refused to look at it. And refusing to look turned out to be a superpower, because the market did that thing markets do. It dropped 20% one year, and Patience didn't sell because Patience wasn't watching, and it recovered. The not watching is what won. You know that feeling when you cancel a subscription you forgot you had, and you feel weirdly, disproportionately proud about $14? Status feels that. Status cancels a meal kit service and feels like a financial genius for exactly one afternoon, while the car lease quietly withdraws its $480. That's the tragedy of the whole thing. The small wins are real, and they feel good, and they're completely drowned out by the one large decision nobody's willing to re-examine. Now slow down, because everything above was set up. This is where the floor drops out. You're 35. Status makes $140,000 now. Actually successful. Actually senior. And Status cannot buy a house. Read that twice. The income tripled, and the down payment isn't there, because there was never a moment where Status chose the boring thing, and the lifestyle scaled up exactly as fast as the paychecks did. The nicer apartment, the third car in 8 years, the watch that got traded up, the trips that had to be documented. Status has a great salary and a net worth that, once you subtract the credit card balances and the fact that literally nothing owned appreciates, hovers near a number a 22-year-old would find insulting. Status has spent 13 years running and is standing exactly where they started, just out of breath and better dressed. Patience, at 35, has, in that Roth, and a taxable brokerage account that got opened along the way, somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000 to $300,000. Not from income, Patience never out-earned Status, not once. From time, from the same $600 that Status spent on being looked at, left alone in the dark to double and double again. And here's what nobody tells you about compounding, the part the graphs never capture. The first 10 years feel like nothing. They feel like a scam. Patience spent years watching that account crawl, wondering if the Corolla and the uncoolness and the raccoon-adjacent friendships were even worth it. And then, somewhere around year 12, the account started growing by more each year than Patience put in. The money started earning money faster than a human could shovel it in. The thing became a machine Patience no longer had to push. That's the moment. That's the whole secret. And it arrived so quietly that most people quit 2 years before it would have happened to them. And Rachel? Rachel's the twist you weren't ready for. Rachel's 35 with 3 duplexes now, each one bought by pulling equity from the last, and she is exhausted. One tenant hasn't paid in 4 months, and eviction in her state takes forever. She's asset rich and cash poor, and she cried in a Home Depot parking lot last spring over a water heater. Rachel did the right thing, and it is grinding her down. If you're keeping score expecting the real estate hero to win clean, that's not the movie. Rachel has more than status and less peace than patience, and some nights she envies the version of her life where she just bought the index fund and went to bed. Her path was real, and it cost real things, and nobody tells you that either. Here's the number I promised you. Over a working life, the gap between investing that first $600 a month at 22 versus starting the same amount at 35 isn't a little worse. It's brutal. Those first 13 years, the ones status spent looking rich, were the most valuable dollars either of them would ever have, because they had the most time to grow, and status set them on fire to make a stranger at a red light glance twice. Now here's the loss, and it's not the money. The money was just the frame around it. Status calls their old self at 35 because they're the same person, but stay with me in the metaphor, and says, casually, that they might have to skip the wedding. A friend's wedding. Destination. The kind you can't put on a card that's already breathing hard. Status has been skipping things quietly for years now. A niece's recital, because the flight was money that wasn't there. A parent's minor surgery they meant to fly home for, and didn't. Status has a closet full of things that photograph well, and a phone full of texts that say, no worries, next time, from people who stopped saying next time a while ago. That's the real cost. Not the house, the recital. The specific, small, unrecoverable thing, a 7-year-old scanning the audience for a face that had to work, that always had to work. Because the lifestyle doesn't pause for a Tuesday afternoon. Status bought the appearance of a good life with the actual pieces of one. You're 45 now. Patience at 45 drives something nice. And this is the part that should reorganize how you see everything above. Patience finally bought the car, paid cash, barely felt it because the portfolio now throws off more in an average year than the car cost, and buying it changed nothing about the machine running underneath. Patience got the luxury as a byproduct, at the age when it's a rounding error instead of a wound. The watch, the trips, the house with the good light, all of it, and it barely registered on a balance sheet that had learned to grow in its sleep. The person who chose patience ended up living more luxuriously than the person who chose luxury ever could, and got there by wanting it less, at the exact moment when wanting it less made it affordable. Status at 45 is fine, and that word is doing a lot of work. Status is fine, still working, still has to. Refinance twice, drive something reasonable now, because the luxury stopped being fun somewhere around the 4th car, when the glance from the stranger stopped landing, and status realized the audience was never watching as closely as the fear insisted they were. The whole time, nobody was watching that closely. The entire thing was built for an audience that was looking at their own phones. And Rachel, remember Rachel and the question I asked you? Rachel sold 2 of the duplexes, kept the one that finally cash flows clean, put the proceeds into the same boring index fund she used to roll her eyes at, and sleeps now. 3 paths, 1 regret each. None of them the story you thought you were watching at 22, in that showroom, with the door handle sliding out to meet your hand. That's why almost everyone points at status at that party. We were all taught to read wealth from the outside. The car, the watch, the brick wall behind the photo, and the outside is the one place it never actually lives. So here's the part I'd have killed to hear at 22, and it takes 90 seconds. You don't need to be smarter than status. Patience wasn't. You need to do one boring thing and then get out of your own way. Open the retirement account this week, not next month, this week, because the most valuable dollar you will ever invest is the one with the most time in front of it. And every day you wait, that dollar gets a little less valuable. Buy the boring, broad index fund. Automate one transfer so the money leaves before you can feel it leave, because a decision you make once beats a decision you have to make every month. And then do the hardest thing of all, the thing that was patience's actual superpower. Don't look. When the market drops, and it will drop, don't sell, because the not selling is the whole game. That's it. That's the entire strategy status couldn't see past a car door. Start small if you have to. $600 a month is a goal, not a gate. The point was never the amount. The point was the time. There's a kid at that wedding status skipped, not yours. Just a kid, bored, spinning in a chair at the reception, watching the adults, filing away, without knowing they're doing it. Which ones seem light and which ones seem tired. Which ones checked their phones during the toast, and which ones didn't. That kid is deciding something right now about what a good life looks like, from the outside. The only way any of us ever learned it. And someday they'll stand in a showroom of their own, and a man will slide a pen across a desk, or a car door will open itself, and they'll have to choose which face to become. So let me ask you the real question. Which one are you already, right now, today? Tell me in the comments. Status, patience, or Rachel, and how old you are. I read them. And if any part of this hit a little too close, subscribe, because the next video is about the trap that comes after you finally have the money, the one nobody warns you about, the one that takes down the people who actually did everything right. I'll see you there.